Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's after 9 o'clock, and we are going to be talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa. I'm going to throw it on the FM. If you're watching on social media or going back and listening on a podcast platform, thank you. Share this stream out. Text a friend. Let them know that we're going to be sharing some good information that probably will change their life today. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy, and I have Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio who's going to be sharing some information that will change your life starting today. Dr. Chapa, good morning. How's it going?
Oh, it's going fantastic, my brother. How are you this fine morning?
I'm doing good. Yesterday, Memorial Day, you were in the office helping change people's lives. How was your day?
You know, I truly believe Jim Rohn, the motivational speaker, not the sports commentator, he's since passed now, has always said, at the service of many, we can make a difference. And I truly want to be able to serve as many people. I love the opportunity that my staff was willing to, work on Memorial Day, and people were just in a great mood yesterday. We had that nice rainstorm yesterday morning. It was like a refreshing. The sun was out most of the day, and patients were in just a great, healthy spirit. Everybody is, moving forward and working through, finding whatever level of normal is the new normal. And I'm really proud of my office. I'm proud of Living Well for being a beacon of light. It's what we've always prayed to be. And at the service of many, we're going to keep making a difference day in and day out, every day that we're able to be there. And I'm just so grateful that people chose to come and see us yesterday. It was really fun to know that. I said, so what's going on today in your life? And they said, oh, there's a barbecue going on at the house. And they asked me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to get, my body worked on. And they said, really? Can I go? So there's a need, and I think a lot of times, patients are stressed with schedules and they're stressed with time, and being able to get in and not be flustered is sometimes a challenge. And yesterday was definitely an exception to that. People were not in a stressed out state. They were very calm, cool, collected. Some of them were coming home from a weekend, in the country at their lake houses and family retreat places that they have access to, ranches and whatnot. And what a refreshing and what a way to kind of end our conversation around healthy living through healthy sleep, healthy mindsets, strengthening and bolstering the immune responses in the body. I think that people want this information. And so I have a little quote here from David Witt about, this is not the age of information. This is not the age of information. Forget the news. Forget the radio. Forget the blurry screens. This is a time of loaves and fishes, because people are hungry. And one good word is bread for 1,000. And so I pray that every one of you, whether you realize it or not, you are a leader. So hopefully you're leading in a way that is productive, positive, and powerfully impactful, and recognize that people are looking to you through action, through deed, through conversation, through time well spent, or the latter. There's two sides of the ledger. You've got the side, to follow, and the examples not to follow. And hopefully you're setting examples and opportunities for people to follow your headship and leadership in how God has placed you in people's lives. Because every one of us has an opportunity to be a Paul to somebody. As the Bible talks about, we all need a mentor, and we all have an opportunity to have a Timothy to somebody else, or I guess a mentee, and then to a Timothy to be a mentor.
I want to ask something about that. Why do you think it's necessary or important to have a mentor? Because I've had people ask me before, who's your mentor? And it kind of put me on the spot, and I'm like, because they almost assumed like, well, you have to have a mentor, right? Mm. Why is that important?
So, well, number one, regardless if you think you have a mentor, coach in your life, or you don't, you do. You're being programmed by something at all points in time. You are a product of the 5 people that you associate with, the 5 books you've read recently, the 5 CDs that you've listened to, the 5 movie programs that you've watched, and or whatever input you put into your head. We are not designed to be alone, and we don't do well in isolation. This is scientifically documented and proven that people struggle, and it's really fascinating, the need. Some people are mentored by the Hard Knock Life for us. Oh, sorry. I cannot go there. Sorry.
That's me. I'm
That's
a
right.
hard knock.
That's right. And some people have the good fortune of having their first mentors, which should be their mom and their father, their mother and father. And I think that we live in a society where oftentimes, due to the lack of margin, and what I mean by that is if you look at your piece of paper, there's always red lines around the edges, and they call the stuff to the left margins, the stuff to the top and bottom and margins, and the stuff to the right margin. And we stay out of the margins so that the paper looks more unified. It looks better. It's more appealing. It's more approachable. And we have filled our metaphoric paper of life to the margins and beyond. And people don't have time for people. People have grown disappointed in people, and people then find themselves resenting people. And I believe y'all may have actually talked about that on Sunday at church, if I'm not mistaken, was the Cliff Notes, Spark Notes that I got. And so interesting how that kind of played into that little thought. And we all have a mentor, regardless of us really putting them there or them just showing up. But you're always being programmed by somebody. So you should be consciously aware that you ought to choose your inputs. You ought to choose the books you're reading. Right now, I have submitted to a classical education model. Like, instead of demanding my children to read all the classical books, I have asked a respected, person's family that they've raised up 2 kids in the homeschool realm, classical model, through and through, hook, line, sinker, really believe deep in it. And I asked them, build me the top 10 list and get me started. Because when my kids go through their higher level reading education, I want to have been ahead of them. I want to have read the books and have the conversations so that we can have family dialogue around it. And that way I can have, relatability in what they're going through. So like right now I'm reading the book Frankenstein. And I recently read Animal Farm, and I just read Born Again by Chuck Colson. And so like I go through even books that aren't quote unquote leadership, self-help. You've got to be well versed in history and science and math and engineering and leadership and how to think. And we've talked a lot about that. If you look back on these last 4 videos, and you can see those at the bottom of our live feed, you can check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we encourage you to go back and listen to some of these things, because the reality is I wouldn't be in a position that I am today, confident to be on the radio to share a message, if I didn't have the years of sharpening my axe in the woods, in the silence of the night, in the early wee hours of the morning. I want people to know that success doesn't just happen to you. Success happens whenever you're trained and you're developed and you're pruned and you're pushed and you're outside of your comfort zone. That's what the prayer of Jabez. Remember that book by, I think it was Wilkinson or something, Bruce Wilkinson? And he said that, Jabez prayed a prayer, Lord, increase my borders, right? He didn't ask to go into the margins. He said, Lord, increase my borders. And it says, and God did. He honored that prayer. Now that's the end of the story. That's all we really know. Yes, Lord, can I pray that? Well, be careful when you pray that, because it will happen. And it might not happen exactly the way you think, because we all think, oh, I want a ranch and I want 100 horses.
It's just going to come to you easy.
Yeah,
one day.
But you don't realize that might cost you, $1,000 a week in feed. Are you ready to feed those animals? Are you ready to lead that flock? To much is given, much is asked. To much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. And so don't expect life to be easier. Don't wish you had less problems. Wish you had more solutions. Seek and you will find answers. And that's why I truly start for me. I start with Jesus Christ. I start with the Lord. I go to him, and I trust in the Lord with all my heart. I lean not on my understanding. In all my ways, I acknowledge him, and he shall direct my path. He will put the people in front of me that will educate me, develop me, prune me, push me, and develop me. And then his word and all the different inputs that I can put into place to stay as sharp as possible. I think if you want to be successful, whatever that definition is, whether it's in your faith, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your finances, whether it's in your fitness, whether it's in your leadership abilities, no matter where it's at, you have to be developed and trained, and never ever think that you're the hot dog in your social circle. Because the day you find out that you're the hot dog in your social circle, I hate to say, you just found that you're the big wiener.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do.
You got to humble yourself. You've got to stay in a place of teachability and be a lifelong learner. If I had one piece of advice for anybody that hears my voice when it comes to mental health, physical health, spiritual health, developmental health, is to remain a lifelong learner, develop your thinking brain, develop logic skill sets to ask good questions, and get and learn how to build relationships. If you can learn how to diffuse hot situations, if you can learn how to work with people in their state wherever they are, because sometimes you don't know. You might just walk right into a hornet's nest and get stung every which way to Sunday, and the knee-jerk reaction is to start swinging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of times that might be the worst thing to do, to throw fire, kerosene on the fire, and it blow up even worse and potentially burn a bridge, burn a relationship. Instead, hey, stop. Deflection drill. Here it is. Best words I can teach you. Hey, whoa. Take me through your thinking on that. What's going on? And you just sit back and you calm the flame and you diffuse the situation. Because when you get somebody to take you through their thinking on that, you immediately deflect the heat to the situation that they've got playing in their head. You don't know what kind of stress they're under. You don't know what kind of financial strain they're under. You don't know what kind of family situations going on behind closed doors that would prompted them to have a misrepresentation of the situation that you're going through. It's not for you to fight. It's for you to be a friend, to be in relationship, because companionship helps you have social interactions where you can sharpen people's axe and people can sharpen your axe. Your laboratory is the body that you associate with day in and day out. And if you find yourself associating with no one, again, you're the wiener. We want you to grow and develop, stay in an learned state. So for me, man, I could talk about leadership development. I could talk about mentorship and menteeship, what it is to submit. I remember going to one of my mentors that I love and respect and has probably been in my life the longest. And I asked him one day, I said, who's coaching you? Because I'm over here studying and developing outside of you, trying to get better, trying to catch up to you, right? Who is pouring their heart and soul into you? Who are you submitting to? Because when I find people that have no mentor, I'm not sure I want to be led by them, right? Because that, to me, that's a narcissistic tendency. That's a cocky arrogance. That's a vanity. That is what I would say, pride comes before the fall.
I think a lot of people just don't know. And if you are not strategically finding someone to pour into you, then you're having everybody else pour into you, and you don't even realize it, but you don't necessarily realize it. Or you're not choosing. There's commercials, there's bad information, there's movies, there's life experiences that are just pouring into you and making the person you are.
Right, and ultimately, people today, because it's funny. This says this is not the age of information, although Mr. David, it is the age of information. Mm-hmm. But I see your point. What he's saying here is forget the news, forget the radio, forget the blurred screens. Find real people that have genuine interest in you as a human. Allow people to speak into your life and not take offense. be willing to grow and learn, and then pray that God bring you a man or a woman to pour into as well, so that you can pass on the information, so that the cup constantly is refilled. Because the only way you can fill up a full cup is to do what?
Pour it out.
Pour it out, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Pour it out. And I think God is graciously given, according to Scripture, an opportunity for us all to be. He's given us a measure of grace, and He's poured it out on all. And I look at it like a spaghetti strainer. If I pour water through a spaghetti strainer, water equally distributes through all the little manufactured same size holes, correct?
Yeah.
But what if I go above and beyond and I cut a really nice size hole in the middle? Where does the predominant water go when in the spaghetti strainer?
Right there in the middle.
Of course. So I want to be conduit like that for Jesus. I want for the Holy Spirit to pour that kind of, because He's given a measure of grace to all. If I can open myself up to just let it flow right in and through and give it right back out, I'm the big hole, and it keeps more of it pours into me. We all have a measure of grace, but what are we doing with it? Are we hoarding it and not sharing it with anybody because we're afraid of what people might think about us? Or are we hoarding it because we're afraid somebody might get an edge and ahead of me, and the blue crab syndrome kicks in, where you don't want other people to be better than you? You don't want to celebrate other people's successes? Or at the service of many, do you want to freely give as you have been freely given to yourself? And you might say, "Oh, I paid for that information. It's valuable." Well, dang right, it's valuable. Dang right, it's. I get all that. I've paid. The guy that's been with me the longest, I've paid him for years. A paid coach. I saw value in finding people that had fruit on a tree that I was interested in. And the best way for success is to find somebody doing what you think you want to do, model it, copycat, if you will, what they're doing, and you will get the recipe that they follow. It's like what I always say: if you want chocolate chip cookies, follow a chocolate chip cookie recipe. If you want sugar cookies, follow a sugar cookie.
We had somebody reach out to us last week, and they showed up this morning because they want to get into radio. They want to get into this industry, and that's exactly what they did, because we weren't soliciting hey, if you want to come in, but they hey, they're doing what I want to be doing, and reached out. It's just sometimes I don't know, people can be scared, or even myself, just seeing something oh, I don't want to reach out. What they'll say no or don't even do it, but it's worth it to reach out. Something else I want to say about success. I think one of the most important parts of success is failure, because without failure and you just succeed, then you get comfortable. But if you fail, then you learn, hey, this is how you don't do it. That's how KHEA Radio got to where we are today, which, there's so much. We're in the grand scheme of things, KHEA is doing a lot of positivity, in our area, but there's so much more that we can do and we want to do. But there's been a lot of failures, along the way. And I saw somebody post something about failing, and I was like, man, failure is such an important part of success, and success is different for everybody. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Something else I thought was really cool was this comment from Ishmael saying he's watching live on Facebook from West Africa. And I wanted to say good morning to you, Amber Murphy. I'm guessing watching from League City, but she said that Dr. Chapa, you got that energy with the legs just going today.
Oh, I am fired up, sister. Thank you so much.
So.
And I'm actually cognizantly thinking because everybody comments that I just over here shake like a leaf,
Just
but I'm just so fired up. I said, y'all realize y'all are making me sit in a chair, and I had to stay focused on the microphone so people can hear me. But I'm just so excited about life, guys. I really am. I really want people to feel my heartbeat, that wherever you're at, no matter what's going on in your realm, your world, today's the day. Let's change it. Let's make the best of today. Whether you're in Africa, God bless you, Ishmael. Miss Murphy, thank you so much for always paying, listening to the show. It makes me so excited to know that you're out there. And, we were talking about you yesterday. I can't wait to, we got some, potluck dinner things that we're trying to organize at Butler's Courtyard, because we want to be in the community. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center believes that the community tribal model is still absolutely the model that helps people the most, because people can, in a casual setting, get questions answered, get deeper into relationship. We can learn together, serve together, pray together, play together. And and we need opportunities like that. And it's hard to find those opportunities in a world that is very, very, very busy. And we know busy is being under Satan's yoke. And I don't want to be under Satan's yoke any longer. I want to be, I want to be in a position where we can serve the masses inside the margins for which God has given us to operate in. I don't want to be excessively pushing the limits beyond my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual capabilities and find myself burned out in 3 years. I remember second, third year into practice, I'm working at this event for a polio organization in the Pasadena, Deer Park area. And one of the brothers of a gentleman that had polio came up to me afterwards. He goes, dude, I hope that you are able to sustain the energy that I saw here tonight. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I truly hope for you that you can just sustain that. And I'm thinking, well, of course I can. Of course I can sustain that. Well, of course I could. I was 28 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to be at 38? How are you going to be at 48? My mentor is 65-ish, maybe 66, and he's got two kids under 2 right now. He is, lean. He is healthy. He is a beautiful human being and is full of spunk and full of energy. And people wonder why I, take bags of pills every day. And it's because he does. And he's one of my, nutritional coaches and mentors and friends. And I asked him, I asked him one morning after he had his second child under 2, and this was just relatively recently. And I said, all right, Doc, tell me, you guys, this is like 5 a.m. You're texting me this picture, and your baby's beautiful, your wife is gorgeous, but I'm like, dude, how do you look so dang good yourself at your age, right? And I said, is it supplements, is it genetics, or is it a whole lot of supplements? LOL, like I'm just kind of jacking with him and joking with him. And this guy eats really clean. He lives on an anti-yeast diet, which is a no sugar, no fruit, no alcohol style diet. And it's work. It's hard work for sure. But if you put sugar in your gas tank, your engine's not going to run well. If you put sugar in your body, your temple, it's not going to run well either. And interestingly enough, he goes, well, it's a lot of supplements, but it's a whole lot of swallowing. And I said,
you got to take them.
You got to take them. And he's so witty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're amazing. And God bless you. Congratulations, moving on, but literally he carries around a sandwich bag full of pills, and he gets them in every day. He drinks his water. He eats clean, and he's doing what he needs to do in the natural in order to trust that God will do what he's going to do in the supernatural. And if, again, I follow that model I just spoke a second ago, find somebody that's got the fruit that I want. He's 66, 65 years old. I'm 40, so that's 25 years. And I've never seen this guy, even through the stresses that I've watched him go through, he's always been on. Like the show must go on. And he has been called to this, and he is thankful to go through this, and he doesn't shy away from doing whatever it takes to be his best. And these are the tools and treatments that he follows and believes in. He's a drug-free man. People have told me, they go, he's done Botox. There's no way he looks that good. No, there's no way possible. So one day I called him out. I said, hey, Doc, my patients think you're on that you're doing Botox. They think that you're doing all these artificial skin enhancements to look so good. Look good. They said, there's no way a 66-year-old looks that good. And he goes, not a drop, not one time, never. And you know that. And I said, I believe you. I just needed to hear you say it. Because he's never given me reason or doubt to think otherwise. And this is not a guy that you're probably going to see on the Dr. Oz show. You're never going to see him on a high level, look at me model. He is not that guy. He just wants to be conduit for Jesus in a way that flows the grace that's been bestowed upon him. And he recognizes his time is short, time is limited, so he puts his blinders up to a lot of junk in the world, which we all, I think, could and do. And I think that's what this passage of inspiration's coming from. Stop listening to the news, stop listening to the radio, unless it's KHEA radio, of course.
Then turn it up.
And then turn it up.
And share it with a friend.
Share it with a friend. Amen to that. And then make sure that you're recognizing the inputs that you're putting in, because people are hungry. People are desperate for leaders. I was with a group of guys this morning, and the conversation at the table was this, is that the harvest is plenty, the leadership is few. We don't have enough leaders that have been prepped and trained for such a time as this, where we can go out and take care of the flock whenever, stuff goes down. We weren't. No, but we're in unprecedented territory, in unprecedented waters of what does life look like today, tomorrow, and every day kind of brings us a level of new challenge. And how you handle the challenge determines your results in life. It determines your attitude. It determines your joy. It determines your impact. And I think that this next little thought that I see on my paper here, I love just grabbing information as it comes. The greatest use of your time is to think new thoughts. We talked about a few weeks ago the magic of thinking big. This whole month has been dedicated to developing a healthy mindset, developing healthy sleep habits, and bolstering a strong immune system. Because when you do the first two, you naturally have a stronger immune system. And you didn't even have to do anything other than to think new thoughts. Thinking is the hardest thing, guys, that you will ever do. And that's why so few people engage in it. I encourage and frankly beg of you to learn to think differently, because if you don't like where you're at, your thinking got you there. If you like where you're at, thinking got you there. If you want to go beyond and increase your borders and boundaries, your thinking will get you there. So you've got to learn to think differently about all aspects of life and never get caught in a rut that doing it the old-fashioned way is the way. Always be ready for fresh new insights and be a lifelong learner, because you will be able to roll with the times. You'll be able to thrive in a oppressed or suppressed or depressed society. You'll be able to rise up and blossom, bloom where you're planted. You'll be able to look to the heavens and know where your help comes from. You'll know, when to be thankful. The other morning, Friday morning, guys, I have bad days too. I had to get myself pepped up. I woke up and I was in a somber, melancholy state. I was real deep in thought, and I'm thinking, man, where I'm going, I got to get this off of me, right? It's good to be here at sometimes, but where I'm going, I gotta snap out of this. I took 2 adaptogen, 2 Mintran, 2 Neviton first thing in the morning, and drank my water, took some of my other supplements, and then on the way over, I was like, I need a little something more. Lee Greenwood popped in my head. God bless America. And with the windows down at 5:45 in the morning, opened up the T-top, or the little thingy on top. What do you call that? Sunroof.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's cool the morning, right? And I'm just singing top of my lungs, God bless America. I'm singing, it's time for me to rise up. It's time for me to wake up. It's time for me to smile at somebody. It's time for me to inspire somebody. It's time for me to snap out of that little funk I was in and get that nasty off my shoulders. Because it happens, right? It just happens. We can't all be on all the time, right? Surely we've got a bad day somewhere. But what if every day is a good day because we choose it to be, or we figure out a way to, break off that, that stuff that gets on us, that grime. You know what I mean? That's why you brush your teeth in the morning, because there's funk on it. You know what I mean? There's stuff. And why is that? Because your lungs are a smokestack. You're literally blowing off steam from 3 to 5 a.m. Now, you're doing it all day long, but your lungs, guys, are most active. They're most powerful between 3 and 5 in the morning. And that's why most people have asthmatic attacks. They snore during the night, during those hours. And that's why people's breath is stinky in the morning, because they're outgassing all the toxins from the liver, who is most active between 1 and 3 a.m. 1 and 3 a.m. liver, 3 to 5 is your lungs. And then guess what kicks on at 5 to 7? Your bowels, the sewage system kicks on. You should have your biggest bowel movement of the day first thing in the morning. And, I've always been bothered by this, and maybe I'll just pose it to the world and see if anybody can help me. I think you'll really appreciate this. I hope y'all are ready.
I'm not ready.
Why do they call it taking a dump? Because you're not really taking a dump. You're leaving a dump. Have you ever thought about that?
Taking,
Yeah.
leaving.
Play on words. I don't know what it is. If anybody's got a comment, I'm definitely open. I'd love to get what your feedback is. I'd love to kind of throw you off a little bit, little comic relief, and bring it back too. But remember, you can make a difference in somebody's life today. For people are hungry, and so and one good word is bread for 1,000. So thank you, David Witt, for that. It's a great little mantra that we can roll with this morning.
Okay, so there's a couple of comments that I want to read on the social media stream. And again, if you have an answer to that question that Dr. Chapa elegantly asked, feel free to ask that on Facebook and share this out. Share this video out because somebody has the answer out there. I want to see the history of it.
I see Doug Rakowski is watching. Doug, I know, sir, that you have a response to that. So I am expecting you to say something. So I hope you do anything.
Yeah, so here's a comment. This is from Randy. Randy says, the Chopster is going to start a fire.
Woo!
Amazing friend and wellness guru. This is from Amber, talking about Dr. Chapa. He always has that energy. That's why I love being around him. It's contagious. So that's a couple comments. If you have a comment, maybe you have an answer to the question, let us know. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name's Gardy, hanging out with Dr. Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Right now it's 9:42, and I have another question. So I was at my parents' house for Memorial Day. Actually, no, I wasn't on Memorial Day. It was Saturday. I was in my parents' house on Saturday, and I saw my mom take something out of the fridge. It was a big white bottle. She poured it in a little cap and took a swig. She took a swig of it, right? And I said, Mom, what is that? What is that? Because it was like this dark color. And she's like, it's liquid vitamins. I said, where did you get liquid vitamins? She said, from Dr. Chapa's office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently my granddad, my mom's dad, he lives in Angleton, like 45, 50 minutes away. And so he reached out to my mom and was like, I want some liquid vitamins. I want some liquid vitamins. I don't know where he even knew those existed from, but, he's a smart man, right?
Yeah.
And I think my dad maybe reached out to your, I don't know. But anyways, what in the world are they taking? It's like a big white bottle. It's like a dark color.
There's 3 of them in my office that are liquid vitamins. So you got to remember, right? So I have patients that truly have pill problem, swallowing, gag reflex issues, which, by the way, cranial nerve number 9, cranial nerve 10, I can help reset all of that in my office, and I can get your body ability to, bring that in more effectively. And you make it where you can actually swallow pills more effectively. Okay. So, but for people that just straight up have, an aversion to swallowing pills for whatever reason, I am, and children too, I have figured out ways to get nutrition in, because you see, nutrition is and always has been the fundamental building blocks that help drive health forward or drive health in decline. And so we've got products in the office that are liquid minerals, and the one that they're talking about is Intramin. Intramin is a fantastic tasting liquid mineral, and minerals really don't taste good, but there is so many minerals in this product that it is electrifying to the cells. The cells need minerals to fire and to function and to evolve and to develop and to perform like they're supposed to. And so that's one of my liquid vitamins, and it is a multi-mineral. There is every mineral under the sun in there. And we really, as a whole, need exotic minerals. And I hate to say the word exotic like it's like a weird thing, but the reality is you need sea kelp. You need chlorophyll. You need the mushroom nutrients, because people don't eat that stuff.
Right,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And you need cruciferous vegetables because people are afraid of Brussels sprouts for some reason. You need beets because people don't eat beets. You can get them at the store, but the reality is the minerals that we're putting in the soil and growing in our commercial farms are 2 to 3 to 5 minerals. You need a minimum to be vitally impactful 60 to 65 to 70 minerals in the soil, because you can't put into the plant what's not in the soil. So if we put in the soil what's needed to be there, your plant will then grow what you have, and then you take that in, and your body will then perform at a higher, more robust level. So people go, I don't like taking supplements. I don't want to do it. I don't think God does. You're right, God didn't design it that way. I don't disagree with that at all. However, man got involved. Man, decided that we can cut costs here, and we can cut this here. We can, disrespect the soil here. And guess what happens is now we have demineralized, devitaminized produce, fruits and veggies are not being consumed in healthy moderation. Now we're processing stuff. We're eating additives, and we're drinking alcohols and doing things that are contaminating the body, demineralizing, devitaminizing, and breaking down the cell wall of every cell in your body, every tissue, cell, organ, gland in your body, due to the wrong fat intake. And now all of a sudden, the cells are withering away like pruny grapes, and they don't perform at their max capacity. And then we come in with a product called Intra Kid or Intra Max, and these are liquid vitamins that have 415 different ingredients in them. And a capful once or twice a day, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Like if I can make it so easy that you can't say no, then your kids can't say no. Guess what? I'm giving you tools and nutrition, and some people go, is that enough? No, it may be, maybe not, but is it better than nothing? Is it better than, 97.5% of all the supplements purchased on the market today are either, get this, not safe or not effective. So you can't go to these big box stores and buy vitamins and expect to get what it says on the label. Coal tar, by the way, is not a good source of B vitamins or vitamin C, and that's what they're packaging up and selling to you. It's lies, lies, and more lies. Great job, fake news. Way to deceive us yet again. I don't want to dupe anybody. So I study, I vet, I go and visit these places and make darn sure what they put on that label is exactly what it's and those labels are going to do what I want it to do in the body, or I don't buy the product. So instead of my companies that I use that are the 2.5% of safe and effective, and I have many in my office, for the sake of everybody's unique and different. You know, for example, everybody comes in a unique and different spot. Yesterday, I had a lady come in, and we thought it was her back that was the problem. It wasn't her back. She was 5 days away from a cycle. Her ovaries were misfiring. It wasn't her adrenal glands, which 90% of the time it is an adrenal problem. And because the body will rob the sex hormones in order to manage stress hormones when stress is high. And this particular patient has a lot of stresses in her life. And so we had to fix her ovaries. And how do we do that? One, I can work on the lymphatic and neurolymphatic neurovascular reflexes to the ovaries. I can stimulate L3, L4, L5 and work on those pelvic organs via chiropractic or massage or just mobility exercises. But her body wanted to be, when we tested it, to have a product that would feed biochemically the system. And we improved her signaling, her antenna, right? Because the same as your hypothalamus in your brain and pituitary in your brain communicate as the mothership down to the thyroid, your metabolism engine generator, your adrenal glands, your stress modulator, and your ovaries, your sex hormone communicator, there's also a communication response upline, a biofeedback loop from the ovaries back to the adrenals, back up to the hypothalamus and pituitary. And if you have a glitch, top-bottom or bottom-to-top, there's a misfire. If that misfire is there, your body will start shunting off symptom patterns that you're uncomfortable with. That should be a check engine light to you to go, wait a second, I think I got something here. Something's wrong. I'm going to throw off this check engine light, go do something about it. And you as the patient have to now interpret that symptom and go, is this my back? Did I hurt something? Did I do something? Did I lift something? Did I garden too long? Did I get dehydrated? Have I had a bowel movement today? You know what I mean? Like, we start asking questions. You got to be a great question asker back to yourself. What have I done to create this pain in my back? And then you go, wait a second, I've done none of those things. What else could it be? Oh, nobody's teaching this, guys. I'm telling you, nobody's talking about the power of feeding the tissues. They're only, if you can get in there and create signaling improvement by feeding the ovaries, in this case, or stimulating the adrenal glands, in many cases, or upregulating the communication from the hypothalamus down, it just dawned on me literally a few years ago that the same way I stimulate reflexes going downward, I also got to stimulate them going upward as a reverse test. Am I checking those biofeedback reflexes? And we did that and found there was a glitch. We put it in, and she's going to have a great next 5 days. She's going to have the best cycle she's ever had, and she's going to feel better than ever. And we might only have to do it this month, but we might have to do it for the next 3 months, because typically it takes about 3 months for her body to get out of whack. It'll take about 3 months for her body to get back in sync. and that's okay too. Sometimes time is our ally and a friend as well. So learning how to appreciate the way your body communicates to you allows you to address its needs as it's calling out.
Yeah, you always mention check engine lights. Your body's trying to tell you something, but if you don't know what those somethings are or what the check engine lights mean, then you just think this is the new normal. You hear that a lot, like, oh, this is normal. I turned 35, 40, 45, I'm 50 years old now,
and
this is
welcome, you're
normal.
getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, here's one for you, and this is a personal thing, right? Is I truly, I was sitting with a mentor one time, and Dr. Dobbins, God bless his soul, he has passed on. He developed cancer in his 60s, okay? And this was a guru. So this was a guy that was very respected in the nutritional community, and everybody flocked to him because he was like a wealth of information. Companies would come to him and help build protocols. I mean, this guy was something. And I was invited, thankfully, to about 15, 20 people roundtable event one night in Austin where he was there as, a dinner time speaker. And it was an intimate setting. There was, it was just a fun, enjoyable night. And so, we get to the question and answer, and people are throwing out questions and asking him, and they're excited. The energy's real good. But for me, man, I was really burdened, because I got into this work because my dad died in my arms of a heart attack. I watched his eyes bug out of his head. I've seen death. I've smelled death. I've experienced it. It woke me up. I know how fragile life is, and I don't want to take a day for granted. So people say, it's, Aaron, you don't have to be so perfect with your diet. You're going to gain weight anyway. Everybody gets thicker. Everybody, whatever. I got to just accept the status quo.
Right.
Baloney, lie, be behind me, Satan. I don't want to believe nonsense. I'm not going to believe that. And by the way, there's a lot more going on in my head, in my soul, in my spirit that drives me to act the way I do and to live like I live other than vanity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for looking good and all that other stuff, GQ magazine guy, whatever, But at the end of the day, that ain't why I do this. If that was the why I did it, my motivation and depth for putting myself through some of the physical, sufferings that I put myself through would not be there. That drive to press in and push harder wouldn't be there. It's because I desire deeply to live to be 125, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body, if God wills. I desire to see what life's like, what I can maximize this body to do. What can I get it to do? And I'm not talking half-heartedly functional, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. I've already built out the next, 100 years or 80 years of my life, I suppose. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so whether God approves it or not, that's okay with me. I'm participating in his grand plan. I don't write he's organizing my steps, right? But I do believe that we sell ourselves short many times in not visioneering, seeing where we want to be in the end. And so I was sitting at this round table with Dr. Dobbins, and I asked him the hard question. I said, Doc, I got to ask, do you feel betrayed? You're 60-something years old, and you got prostate cancer. You actually beat prostate cancer at this point. He'd already beat it. I said, but you got cancer. Like, and you do this stuff for a living. I would be betrayed. Please help me understand your thinking on that. Remember how we started earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Take me through your thinking, because I would be betrayed. It would have been a practitioner takedown. I would have been a TKO, technical knockout. I might have, not been able to recover due to a devastating blow of cancer diagnosis in my life had I not got this education from him. And you know what he told me? He goes, absolutely not. And everybody in the room, you could feel the hairs on their arms stand up. Because, the tone changed. It went from a very light conversation to a little bit of a deeper philosophical conversation. I don't know if that's, just a desire I have to get into that conversation, but I didn't know if I'd get a chance to have a one-on-one with him. This was my one-on-one. And I had to not care what the other 18 people in the room cared, I needed to know for me. And guess what? Absolutely not, is what he said. And he goes, let me tell you why. He says, the type of cancer that I got was so aggressive, it should have killed me at 28. because he was on a nuclear submarine in the military, and he said this type of cancer kills people within 4 to 5 years. He goes, everything that I've done in my life has retarded the growth of this cancer. Get this, guys, please. Retarded the growth almost 45 years. Something that should have killed him in 4 years. He didn't know he had a cancer in him. He didn't have any symptoms. 45 years it retarded its development. And when it came on, he was able to leverage the technology of the modern cancer world and what he knew biochemically himself, and he whipped it. He was having the doctors scratch their heads. They couldn't. They like, we've never seen anything like this. Is like impressive. This is like, oh, this is amazing. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it was intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat back, and it really helped me, because, I mean, if I go at 80 years old, so be it. But man, I'm going to fight every step of the way. You know what I mean? And if you've got if you got to find something that's going to drive you to push yourself beyond, where you're at. And I think people just sell themselves short, and they don't need to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what you eat is important, but what you don't eat is more important. How you fuel this body, how you think, how you put mental vitamins in, as well as, it's just good stuff. And what we do is powerful. And good nutrition gives you good results. It changes your attitude. It changes your thinking. It gives you a playing field to spar with life in a way, in a controlled environment. And people want it. People need it, whether they realize it or not. And so I'm just on this quest just to wake as many people up to see that they can be more than they ever thought they could be. They can make a difference in people's lives more than they ever thought they wanted to. I want to expand your thinking so much that you can never go back to this small-minded, petty thinking that is going on, and that we're quibbling over conversations, in society, and misrepresenting science and not understanding the true power that God has put in every one of you to heal from the cellular level out. That no matter what disease comes in, dude, welcome it. Whether it's the coronavirus, whether it's the flu, right here, according to your DNA, from all recorded learning and adaptation, the number one cause of death is infection. All recorded history. You know why this is true, right? Because the Oregon Trail back in first grade, everybody played Oregon Trail back in first grade.
Great game.
And everybody died of scarlet fever, rheumatic fever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Infection. This is not a new thing, guys. God is not shocked that coronavirus came through town. Oh, by the way, it's a docile virus. It hates heat. It is not very strong. Man-made or not, your body will mount a response if you give it the right environment to do so. You don't need, to worry so much. And what we're being sold is bad information, and we've got to appreciate that the God of all the universe built a body that can handle infection.
And he's not surprised that this is going on.
He's
right
not
now.
surprised.
It's like he's okay. And I think for us being prepared, one thing you've talked about, and I brought this up maybe last week or the week before, you have a health bank. So the more healthy decisions that you make, it allows your body to be able to deal with some of those things, like the mentor you were talking about. Something that could have knocked him out in 4 years, 5 years, or should have. 40 something years later, however many years later, he's still there, and he was still able to make a difference and give his life for that passion and spread a message.
And there's no doubt, and so, oh man, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you're at in your health journey, your thinking got you there. If you want out of the circumstances that you're in, your thinking can get you there. You just got to surround yourself with better thinking, better tools, better relationships, better people to push you, inspire you, and nudge you in a direction that is worthwhile. It's worth your effort, your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears, everything to press forward to the mark for which you see yourself after you've built this life. What do you want it to look like down the road? When I turn this baby in, I want it to be used up, but I don't want it to be beat up. And I mean, I'm cool with dents. I got some scars, you know. You remember Mater? You know, he had his dents, and he goes, no, don't take my dents away, because those are my adventure dents, right? And I don't want to lose some of those scars of life and those dents, because those are what make you. And again, like you said earlier about failing, you know, why do we fall?
Get back up.
So we can get back up again. And I want people to grab that. I teach my kids that. Like, why do we fall? So we can get back up again, you know? And we are going to fall. You know, we are going to make mistakes. We are going to hurt people. We're all going to have misunderstandings. We are going to botch it at times, really foul it up. But man, let that be just fuel for the fire for doing it right better the next time, and seek better counsel the next time, and be willing to ask the hard questions the next time, so that you can avoid the pitfalls. Because they say a wise person learns from what? Their own mistakes. But a genius, who wants to be a genius? Somebody give me a little thumbs up. I want to be a genius.
That's me. Thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Learn from the mistakes of others. And there's plenty of people in the world for which we live today where you can learn and glean from others' life experiences. And those messages can help you navigate the terrain. And then we check it against the Holy Spirit, because the Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, is to don't quench the Spirit, test all things, hold fast to all things good, and do it all for the glory of the Lord. And so we rejoice always knowing that He is good and that He has a plan for every one of your lives. And it's just up to you what you do with what you've been given, because He's already given you a measure of grace. Are you going to receive it? When you receive it, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to pour it right back out so the next person can get it? Are you going to help wake somebody up? Who can you wake up? Who's sleeping in your orbit right now that is completely and utterly sleeping? I don't know how else to put it. Wake them up, shake them, kick them, do something. Because people, we got to get thinking again. We have to think. We have to change the way we evaluate circumstances. And then we don't quench the Spirit, test it with the Holy Spirit, and find the truth in it. And make sure whatever conclusion you come to, make sure it's your own conclusion. Don't take my word for it. I had a guy, Dr. John D'Onofrio, God rest his soul, another great mentor of mine. He said, listen, don't believe a word I'm saying. You go look it up. You go dig this out. The Bible says, seek and you shall find, right? Knock and the door shall be open. There's an action step that you have to participate in this game. And when you participate in the game, you will enroll yourself in an adventure and a level of excitement and joy and a thrill ride of life that is rewarding on so many fronts and so many levels. And yes, you're going to mess up. Yes, you're going to have successes. But even on the success side, how are you going to survive your success once you get there, wherever that looks? You know what I mean? I got a guy right now, I'm so proud of him, off and on, been working with him for a few years. He's just got invited to Kona. Well, what that means he has run X number, I can't remember, it's a ton of triathlons. And this is, a man who has recovered and beat alcoholism and addiction. This is a man that has overcome many physical challenges. And he came in the other day, and he looked better than ever. And yet, even though Kona got changed, the new date, because so many people fell out, his 2023 date got bumped to 2021. And he said, sign me up. I'm ready. He's ready.
I'm ready.
He didn't let the times help set him on his laurels and wait for his, burn out his oil and his candle. He was ready when the opportunity came. He was ready when the call came over.
I see that with UFC fighters, with all the cancellations, and then, there's this, hey, I can't train, I can't fight, There's these guys that are like, they're hungry, like, hey, I'm ready, call me, I'm ready, I'll sign on the paper, let's go.
And that is, if you're ready, when the Lord calls, you're ready. And He will call. He will come. You better be ready. And so wake up. Know that He prepare your fields. Take care of your vineyards because it's a gift that has been given to you. What you do with it is up to you. It's your life. It's your health. It's your choice. And so when I turn this earth suit back in, I want it to be used up. But I want it to be used up in a way that's Romans 12:1. I beseech thee, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. I love that because he didn't ask for an extraordinary service. He asked for this is a reasonable service. Reasonable. It's not extraordinary. It's reasonable, right? A living sacrifice. Every day, I don't know where it is. I'm sure my lovely friend, Miss Courtney, could help me out. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for putting some of these messages up through Scripture, Matthew 7, and 8. And I would say that, when it comes to beating our body, preparing it for the race, we are all running a race. Are you preparing to win because everybody's playing? If you're the tortoise, slow and steady wins the race. You just want to cross the finish line? Hey, that's cool. But what if you ran it with all desire and diligence to win in the prize, whatever that prize is, not for your glory, but for the King's glory? How many souls can you save? How many seeds can you water? How many harvests can you pluck? How many people can you disciple? How many people can you serve? As the service of many, we can make a difference in the world. And that is the message. And if you're broken in your body, if you're broken in your mind, if you're broken in your chemistry, you will be ineffective. Can you still be used? Yes. Are people still used that have broken bodies? Absolutely. God speaks through mules. He speaks through donkeys. He can speak through a broken person, and we are all fundamentally broken. But what if you didn't accept the status quo? You didn't accept that baloney Mahoney that says, oh, get ready, you're getting old. Don't believe that nonsense. Don't accept that. Fight back. Fight it, fight it, fight it. What are you going to quit to? Drugs? Really? That ain't going to solve anything. Could it maybe crutch you forward a little bit? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's not the end answer. Getting the body the tools, the resources, the vitamins, the minerals, the essential fats, the water intake, the good sleep, the good attitude, that is what drives your health. That is what reconditions your body. That's what builds the bulldog grit that won't quit attitude. And that's what we got to develop. And so, I just get so excited about watching people go through the process of change and development in their lives. And I want to serve as many that want to hear the message. And one thing's for certain, I'm really proud of. My message is relatively the same as it's always been. 4 deadly food additives, 4 major food allergies. Better take your supplements, better drink your water, better make sure that you start, doing proper sleep hygiene, knowing when to stop water intake there's just little principles. It's not complicated. It's not always easy, but sometimes that's because we don't have any margins. There's so much to the game. Are you playing it well or aren't you? And if you're not, come see us, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We will serve you. We will teach you. We will develop you a skill set that you can apply to your family situation, to your offspring situation. And now you're not just leaving a generational legacy of money. Who gives a crud about the money? You can make $1. What are you teaching the next generation to be better humans, to make a difference with the life that they've been given, so that their life counts for the hallowing of Christ's name? That's my message. I want my life to count. What is the dream that God has put in your heart of a kingdom kind? Because my number one prayer probably is that all my kids get saved, that they live a life that's pleasing and honorable to the Lord. But that's probably the prayer I pray the most. But what about a prayer of a kingdom kind? What does that look like? That my life may count for the hallowing of Christ's name. To anybody that wants to hear it. Am I pushy? No, I don't think so. I'm excited. I'm passionate because I got the joy of the Lord in my heart, and people need it. I'm like a Care Bear stare, man. I'm going to shine my light wherever I go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And so I know we got to wrap up, and I just want people to know, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we have a staff, we have a team. We met together yesterday morning, and we're growing together. We're going places together. My office knows, I think, more and more that I'm learning to trust them, that with my heart, that they will help the vision that God's put in my heart to go out to the masses. And they're open to the challenges that we see and face every day. And that's why we were willing to work on Memorial Day. That's why, we were willing to, we stay late. We do what we do in the presence of those that love seeing us do it. And I want people to know that we love our work and we're proud of our work. And every one of us in my office plays a part in that work. And we want to get people well without drugs and without surgery. And I hope that you know that it's not just symptoms like physical ailments. Sometimes it's mental symptoms of just bad thinking, bad attitudes, and whatever. And so all those things are important in your wellness journey. That's why it's such a gray area. That's why it's not like, hey, here's the cookie cutter approach to life's success. Here's the 5 things that to do to achieve all of your, wildest dreams. I don't know that. I think it's those 5 things are different for every person. And as a clinician, we are very good at listening to your story and developing a plan that works for you in a how to eat an elephant 1 bite at a time model. 1 bite at a time. And so, Gardy, as usual, I'm so glad that you have, Pastor Hallam, that this radio station, that y'all all, have come together to give a platform for people that want to spread a message of hope and wellness, a hope and positivity, a hope in something better is coming. And I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to be alongside, working in the trenches with you here. I love it with all my heart. I look forward to these moments. And I pray all it be well that has heard our message today. I pray that you share it with your friends, family, loved ones. I pray that you push this out to people that are in need. And let's just see what happens. Let's see what kind of positivity we can spread. And I hope just to be a little glimmer of flint that sparks a fire in 1 or 2 of you. And I hope that I hear a cool story in response to it, a testimony, so to speak. And for the glory of the Lord, and for me to be re-educated. I want to learn from you too. So God bless all of you. Call us, 281-554-8600. Go to our website, justlivewell.com, and be a part of what Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is doing. We're doing a great thing in the lives of people at the service of many, as many days as the Lord allows. God bless you all.
If you're listening on 99.5 FM and you want to go back and listen to this again or share this, you can go to KHEA Radio's Facebook. Just go to Facebook, search KHEA Radio. If you don't have Facebook, you can go to KHEA Radio's YouTube. If you don't do YouTube, then you can go to Spotify. You can go to Apple Podcasts.
Sounds like there's so many ways.
There's a lot of ways that you can get this information and the resources here. So, or just send me an email, khea@khearadio.com, and we'll make sure that you can get a copy of this somehow. This is KHEA. It's Kickstart. My name's Gardy.
Pastor at a...
All right, Facebook. Y'all be good. Be blessed.